Blog Talk Radio.
You're listening to Talent Culture's T-Chat Radio. The World of Work is live now on the radio with Megan M. Biro and Kevin W. Grossman, because middle initials count.
Come down, turn the radio on. Take my hand, turn the radio on. Come on, my favorite song, babe. Let's dance, turn the radio on.
Always want to get up and dance when that song's playing. Always want to get up and dance. Welcome everybody out there in Talent Culture T-Chat Show land. It is Wednesday, May 13th. It is 10 a.m. on the West Coast, where myself and our guests are, and it's 1 p.m. Eastern on the East Coast, and we are here for another great show after coming off a whirlwind tour in Cork, Ireland. And with you, as always, is Kevin W. Grossman. Yes, and the lovely and talented Megan M. Biro. What do you think, Megan?
I think that it was an amazing trip to Ireland. I didn't get to see any of my relatives, but shout out to all of my new friends that I met there in Cork. Amazing, amazing city. We were greeted with the red carpet and open hearts, and I can't say enough positive things about Cork and that community. It totally rocked. And, good to go, but also good to be home. I'm back here at the home office here in Cambridge, Mass. And I tell you, the weather gods are on our side today. So it's all good.
Well,
the sun's out.
awesome.
I'm feeling the breeze. Windows open.
Awesome.
It's all good.
Yeah, it's actually, we were just talking in the green room with our guests, but it's nice in the Bay Area too. A little cool here in Santa Cruz. It's morning time, but nice and sunny and blue sky. It's going to be a really nice late spring, early summer day. So we've got lots of great stuff to talk about today, and you're going to introduce the topic in just a sec. Let me just say a quick thank you to all of our friends and sponsors. We want to thank DICE. We want to thank a new sponsor and friend, Silk Road, Jive, Recruitify, TalentWise, Hootsuite, IBM, CareerBuilder, PeopleFluent, our social analytics partner, HR Marketer Insights, the predictive analytics role for Workforce, which again was an event we co-sponsored a few weeks ago, and we're kind of running out that co-sponsorship, and thank them again for giving us that love as well. And then a shout out to our Candidate Experience Awards folks at the Talent Board. They're getting ready to actually close the registration for companies that want to apply to be in the Candidate Experience Awards process. So that is May 15th. So if you're listening today and or listening to the podcast in the next day or two, make sure to get your company in there if you're still interested. All right. What are we going to talk about, Megan?
All right. So last week we were live in Cork, and I was talking about the impact of gender diversity on technology and business performance around the world. And I have to say it was a really well-received topic. And it's something that, I know you feel strongly about as well, Kevin. STEM is something that I think I'm going to continue to crusade for. I think that, it's not just timely, it's just totally relevant. I felt like when I was up there, the audience, it really resonated. And I think there's just a lot more work we have to do on that side of talent. So that's what we talked about last week, and I'll continue to, for all of you out there who are listening in, I'll continue to write about it and to speak about it and open up that communication because it's important. But, long gone, as we know, are these like formal protocols of this offline networking world. It feels almost like the dinosaur age to me at this point, being about 6 years into social. Thinking back, what if we thought back about 15 or 20 years ago? What was the state of professional and social networking? It came at a high price. Both, with time invested, the trouble it took to establish and deepen those beneficial business relationships. We had to go out and actually shake hands and meet people in their office and go to conferences, which, we know is still going on today, but something called social media happened. And it happened for me. It's happened for you, Kevin. It's happened for our guests that's here today and our community at large. And it's made connecting and networking that much easier, as we know, and accessible to basically everybody who has an internet connection and a mobile device at this point. And, trends now indicate that social platforms are becoming tighter and more controlling of people's networks and contact data. So I think we're going to kind of explore a little bit of the pros and cons of that. We're in a hyper-connected world. Those who are able to build, maintain, sustain, and leverage their entire network inside of social, but I would argue outside of social right now, will be more successful and impact the world of work, I think, in a more impactful way. So if you're listening today, and we hope you are, and you want to participate on the Twitter chat during this show or for the Twitter chat portion afterwards from 1:30 to 2 p.m. Eastern and 10:30 to 11 a.m. Pacific time, or wherever you are streaming around the globe, come on over, join us. We're all about learning together and sharing our insights, so do it. And remember, we have this podcast. So, hey, tell your friends about us, would you? You rock. Thanks for being here.
Subscribe and listen for those that can't make it live. Make sure to do that. So let's introduce our guest. It's a dear friend of ours. We've known him for many years now. We started off meeting him in the HR technology space, and now he's expanded beyond that into social business. But Rob Garcia is a Silicon Valley product executive, co-founder and chief product officer at ConnectUp, which is a social email messaging app that allows users to bring all their contacts into one place, write one message, and send it to as many people as they choose individually via email, Facebook, LinkedIn, or even text in seconds. And by the way, I've used it. It's a very, very intuitive, easy-to-use platform as well. ConnectUp is you. It's the power of all your contacts. He's also highly engaged in social media, again, hence our friendship to date, and the startup scene. Enjoys speaking and writing about building genuine relationships beyond social media, which we, both Megan and I, are huge proponents of. Professional networking as well as disruptive innovation. Welcome, Rob Garcia.
Thank you so much for having me today. This is such a treat.
Rob,
welcome
back, my friend. I was just in the green room, reminiscing with you. Rob, you and I have been friends for about 3.5 years now. And been collaborators. You're probably one of my favorites in terms of people that started off in the HR tech space who have been playing with me in social media channels. Rob and I were early experimenters with dynamic webinars and radio. Right, Rob? Remember those days?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. We put a few of those together. I still have the videos of those. They were pretty cool stuff.
Now they feel kind of old school, right?
I know. But hey, you have to start somewhere.
That's right. So it's good to have you. And for the record, Rob and I and Kevin and Rob have met in person, IRL. So,
Indeed.
The entrance point was Twitter, and we've met at several conferences ever since. So welcome again, Rob.
Thank you.
Rob,
thank you so much.
First, real quick, before we dive into some of the media questions for the last 2/3 of the show, tell us, again, what we've just talked about and what's led you to this path of launching the startup and social business. Tell us a little bit more about that backdrop.
Absolutely. So I'm a computer geek by training, product executive by trade, and a networker by, I guess, innate personality and the way my family kind of brought me up. And so I've used those three components of myself to basically do technology innovation. So I've built disruptive technology in several spaces, one of them HR tech, but initially in e-commerce. I also kind of stopped by financial innovation, did a peer-to-peer lending, and now I'm doing – I think that all that kind of was building towards what I really was my purpose of life, which is trying to figure out now at this stage in my career how to help people to network better and build better relationships and scale themselves as relational beings. So all that kind of the last 10 years of adopting and engaging and embracing social technologies has been all about how do we leverage all that not only within the enterprise but also outside of the enterprise. How do we become better relational beings? Because I truly believe that the historically and also nowadays, those who have the biggest and the most leverageable is that a word? Network are the ones that will impact the world the most and will actually lead thriving lives. So that's what I'm up to. That's why I'm now doing what I'm doing at ConnectUp and building this new product.
Awesome.
Where is ConnectUp located? Like, where is your HQ?
We are in a building right in the middle of Silicon Valley in San Mateo, which is right in between San Francisco and San Jose. We're
I
in the
love
same
that.
building, in the same building as JobVite, which is kind of
you're
funny.
kidding.
Yeah, it's just the world just keeps bringing me back to HR Tech some way or another.
It will continue to, Rob. Yes, see, there you have it. I actually love San Mateo. I love that area. So now that I know that you're actually there, and then my friends over at JobVite, I'll give them a shout out as well. I think you've got a visitor. You just mark your calendar, Rob.
There's some cool offices here, so just come on by.
Cool lunch spots too. Absolutely. So, I think this whole idea of being hyper-connected can make us feel really good and happy, and sometimes make us feel pretty darn frenetic and sometimes even stressed out. How do you, Rob, as somebody who's highly social, how do you manage these relationships building both on and offline right now in your career and in your personal life? How does that work for you?
Yeah.
What's it like to be Rob?
Yeah. That is a very interesting question, because I don't think about it as managing. And I think that's the problem of all these tools that are being created and built nowadays are all within the concept or within the premise that you have to manage your relationships. And relationships are not things that you manage. Relationships are things that you put your time in, that you grow, that you maintain, that you flourish out of. So I think that it's just a different mindset in how you think about it. And I learned from my dad. My dad had a friend pretty much anywhere you could think of. Like, we have to wait 3 weeks for our passport to be issued. Oh, I know somebody in that department. I need to talk to somebody who's can put us at the top of the list. Not that I'm recommending that this is what everybody does, but my point
Right.
that if you build relationships and connections everywhere, it helps. It helps to further whatever your goals are, whether it is business or personal. So I think it is frenetic. It is a little frenetic, but it is humans are relational beings, and those who thrive in building and maintaining and furthering relationships are the ones that ultimately are successful. As long as you can do it in a way that is genuine, open, and helpful. I think those are kind of the three key components of relationship building.
But this sounds like it comes very naturally to you, Rob. I mean, I know you. I've met you. Kevin's met you in person. You're a natural people person. I know that because I've spent a lot of time with you. And you learn that, it sounds like, from an early age from your family. I also learned that my mom was the exact same way your dad was. It was like, Mom, if you put Mom and I in a room, Mom's going to be working the room 10 times more than I am even. Because she's just she loves people. She cannot get enough of people.
My mom did the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And she's very curious. So it's interesting, Not everybody, though, is really effective at relationship building, So it's kind of interesting.
Hey, Rob, you said something that I think that you didn't hit on exactly like we did when we did the video preview that really just resonated with me, because the whole point about the mindset of either saying we're managing relationships or we're investing in them for those that we want to sustain and to flourish, right? And you're right about that. I think that's really an important point to note. Ted Rubin, who we had on a few weeks ago as well, kind of touched on that in different ways as well. Is that it's fine to have huge legions of followers and individuals that appreciate and revel in your influence, but it really does come down to those relationships that you invest in, that you want to flourish and sustain. It's not about managing, because that's work, right?
Yeah,
it shouldn't be work. So
yeah, it shouldn't feel like work. But I wanted to address kind of a point that Megan made, which is, is it a natural, innate thing, or is it something that can be learned? And I think it's a combination of both, as always. But it can be learned. It's a skill that can be learned. The interesting thing about social technologies and mobile technologies is that actually having access to those technologies has democratized relationship building. So it's not just are you an extrovert, an introvert? Are you innately inclined to building relationships? It doesn't really matter at this point. Everybody can reach to everybody, and that's something important. You can do it from the comfort of being behind your computer or in the train with your mobile phone.
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk about the 1, 2, 3 steps. So everything that we just outlined and talked about, the kind of the high level, and making relationships flourish, investing in them. When it comes to doing this, right? Not that we're trying to be necessarily be superhuman relationship builders and hyper influential, all that good stuff. But what are the 1, 2, 3 basics as it relates to being able to truly manage both on and offline relationships? What is your 1, 2, 3?
Yeah, so I think it's a combination. Well, the 1, 2, 3 is very simple. First of all, you have to reach out to people that are either already in your network or outside of your network that you want to build relationships with. So first of all, research. There's so much data out there about people you want to reach out to. Was it Kevin Bacon's 6 degrees of separation? That was
remember
like,
that?
I don't know how many.
Remember that
how
whole
many,
thing?
how many years
trend
ago?
that happened online? That's
right.
funny.
So that doesn't exist anymore. Like we're either 2 or 3 degrees apart from every single person in the world. That's just the way it is. So there's no excuse. There's tons of data. So step number 1, research, find information about the person you want to reach out to. Second step, find something in common and reach out to those people in a natural, normal way. Just leveraging social and mobile technologies. And 3, take it offline. Once you build a connection, we are relational beings, and the best way to build a real relationship is to look at somebody in the eye. And, Ted Rubin talks about looking at somebody in the eye digitally. That's great, but you have to take the relationship. For building a relationship that will last, you have to take it offline, whether it is going to a conference and going to a party after a conference and dancing to some music and having a couple of drinks and enjoying yourself, wink, wink, Megan, or whether it is inviting somebody to
I never enjoy myself. Dear world, that's not me. Yes, it is.
Inviting somebody to have a cup of coffee or chat about what you're up to and try to genuinely be interested in what they're about, right? Not just about pitching yourself, pitching what you're doing, but just being genuinely interested in what they're trying to do. And that's, in the case of Kevin, that's how we met. I was excited and interested to hear what story he had to tell a few years ago when he came by my headquarters in San Jose. So those 3: research, connect, take it offline.
Awesome.
Love it. And
awesome.
I concur completely. I mean, for example, shout out to a few of my friends here in the T-Chat community. We decided Rachel Miller, who is our community marvel, we call her, and she's phenomenal. For all of you who know Rachel Miller, shout outs to that lady. We have decided that every single week after T-Chat, a small group of us are just going to meet and hang out, do a G+ hangout, and just connect. Even if we can't meet in real life or have that meeting, even video, really helps to kind of tighten your relationship and keep those communication lines open. There is something about looking somebody in the eye that is very, very impactful. So I agree.
Yep. That's the second best thing to being there. Second best thing to being there when at least you can see them virtually. So there you go. So Rob,
I think it's a little bit
fascinating. Go ahead, Megan.
By
go
the
ahead.
way. I have a quick question. We're talking about the fact that tightening social networks and data that reflects this affects relationship building. Tell us a little bit more about that, Rob, in your opinion. How will the tightening of social networks kind of impact how we're measuring the quality of our relationships and maybe even data?
That's a great question. I don't know if for our listeners, I don't think everybody knows, but this has been done quietly in the back. But both Facebook and LinkedIn and even Twitter have taken steps towards not only taking control or ownership of your connections, your friends, your relationships, but also not allowing users to export them or use them outside. So Facebook closed their API. It used to be an API that was open. And I'm getting a little geeky here, but just I'll move on very, very quickly. But just to set the base, and then LinkedIn just announced, actually yesterday was the day when they closed completely to any their open API. Twitter, I don't know if you probably saw what happened at South by Southwest. The Meerkat was going like crazy, and they basically shot Meerkat out completely, so that people couldn't really leverage their connections in Twitter because they had a competing product. So that's the reality of today. So after 10 years of connecting and relationship building on social media, these platforms have become silos. So what happens?
Right.
With the consequences is obvious,
you know?
right? Like all your data and about your contacts is siloed and trapped within those systems. And it's a problem because you can't really figure out, if you connected with somebody on Facebook, if you're already connected on LinkedIn, or whether your email has some information, metadata that can tell you when is the optimal next time that you should contact a specific person, right? So that's really what's happening. So what this has created is an optimal environment for I don't want to use the word anti-social media, but it's kind of like a parallel world to social media where people really own the relationships. And you've seen some symptoms or some signs of that. And you probably saw Ello, which was not as successful, in my view, enterprise. But the idea of creating something that's an alternative to all these worlds kind of siloing themselves. So I think that's the next generation. The next generation is platforms and places where people own their metadata, so that they can leverage the metadata to really be a little bit more super. You said superhuman, but scale themselves and build their relationships and maintain their relationships. Who's falling off my radar? Who do I know in this industry or in this location? Who do I need to reach out today? So all those kinds of questions that people have should be above the specific social network. Does that make sense?
It does, Rob. Yeah. And I want to say we've got a pretty active Twitter chat happening right now in the backdrop. And I want to give a shout-out to my friend Ross Quintana saying, yes, we must control our data, which is really about our relationship, and create systems to back it up. So thank you, Ross, for sharing your insight there on Twitter, on the Twitters with us right now. Completely agree.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So Rob, I mean, we're leading up to obviously and to where you can actually again bring in and have more control over your own metadata from different networks. But before that, though, I mean, the fact that there are so many silos and there are so many new platforms that do come up that really can trying to really, again, just hate to use the word manage, but to try to like leverage and manage all of those can really diminish impact over time. What do you recommend? How do you recommend that individuals evaluate and adopt when it comes to communicating online, networking online?
Yeah, that's a very good question because there's so many different platforms, right? So which platforms do you invest your time in? So again, my motto, kind of the theme of this is relationship building doesn't happen. Outreach happens online, but real relationship building happens offline. So as soon as you can take that relationship offline, the better off you are. So unfortunately, I don't have the silver bullet of use this platform, but as fast as you can take your contact data and have it and manage it yourself and drive it yourself and use it for leveraging your connections, which is why we built ConnectHub, but there are many other platforms out there. That's where people will win. And I'm going to say something that, Kevin, you're going to kick me because I know that you've been advocating death of email for some time now. But,
yeah, I have. You totally have. So, I'm with you, Rob. I know where you're going with this.
Forgive me for saying this, but email sucks. Facebook messaging, it's okay. But any of these platforms that want to kind of trap your messaging with your connections are destined to fail because they're by definition siloed. So the best way to connect will continue to be email and text as the emerging second option.
Yeah.
So
I'm with you, Rob. You and I are in
there
the
you
same
go.
camp on that. I'm like, email is not dead for what it's worth. I have when I have a lot of people who reach out to me on the various networks, and sometimes on the Facebooks, as you guys know, if you're friends with me on Facebooks, I'm in and out over there, and I've got people direct messaging me on Facebook, and I'm like, listen, the very best way to reach me is email. Do not rely on Facebook messaging for me, and it's just that's where business is getting done, and that's where relationships still are happening. I know it's a pain, but it's the truth.
Hey, listen, I know email's not dead. I want it to die a horrible death, but I know it's not going anywhere. But I'll tell you this. There is a place for it still, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. In fact, I just did the video preview for an upcoming show with one of our future coming up guests. We just talked about that as well. So I get it. I get all that. Now, we're running down on time. So speaking of that, this is a nice segue, Rob. So now, because I said at the top of the show, I've used ConnectUp. I did, and I actually thought it was extremely it's very intuitive, very easy to use. And I loved how it helped me bring everything in together, and it is email-based, right? So why don't you tell us more about how folks can start using ConnectUp, where they can, get access to it, and how do you recommend to get started with it? We got only a couple minutes left.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So just kind of a little bit about ConnectUp. So ConnectUp doesn't pretend to solve all the relationship building value chain. What we focused is one thing specifically, which is the outreach component of relationship building. So the problem that we have today is what I've been talking about, which is siloed contacts. So with ConnectUp, you bring all your contacts into one place. We dedupe, clean it up. We have a premium account that will be launching in the market in about 2 weeks from now. We've been invitation only so far for 4 months testing the product. And thank you for trying it out and giving me your feedback as well. But the problem that we solve is the biggest problem in relationship building, which is I have thousands of connections, and I have a few on Facebook, a few on LinkedIn, a few on all my emails on my phone, and just making sense of all that metadata and being able to now leverage it for outreaching. So think about it as kind of like a MailChimp for your personal connections. So you can do searches like, who do I know in financial services, who's in Boston? Because I'm going to Boston next week, and I want to reach out to these people that I know in that space.
What?
So, actually, this afternoon I'm jumping on the plane because I'm going to Omaha to talk about this same topic. Who do I know in Omaha? So how do I do that? First time in Omaha. I know I have some people in my network that I know there. So that's what we do. We just make it very easy to filter and find people, and then being able to send them a message that is personalized to every one of those people at once. So most people end up copying and pasting, sending some messages on LinkedIn, sending some messages via email. We bypass all that, clean it up, send the emails on your behalf as personal emails.
So what is everyone has like somebody they consider a competitor in the space. What are applications that are like your application, if we had to draw some parallels?
Gosh, I get that question very frequently, and I don't know how to answer it because nobody has done what we've done. There are products in adjacent spaces, like there's CRM, but it's more used for business, and I don't want to be compared with CRM because that's not what we are. So there's products like Nimble or Contactually that are more CRM-centric. There are email marketing products that I don't want to be compared against because, again, we're not about email marketing. We're the opposite of email marketing. We're about personal relationship, one-to-one, personalized communications. So unfortunately, I can't say there's a product out there that does what we do. There's some contact management apps, that are doing some interesting stuff, but not interestingly enough, I think. We're kind of unique. We're in that combination of those three components.
Excellent. We're gonna run out. We're gonna run out of sands in the hourglass, Rob. So thanks again for being on the radio show. But hang tight, everybody out there. We're gonna jump right to the Twitter chat now, and Rob's gonna be joining us. So continue that discussion on there. Thank you, Rob.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Rob. We appreciate you being here and connecting. It still matters.
True pleasure.
All right.
True pleasure. Thank you.